Irish Fairy Tales. Chapter 12. He was a king, a seer, and a poet. He was a lord with a manifold and great train. He was our magician, our knowledgeable one, our soothsayer. All that he did was sweet with him. And, however ye deem my testimony of fin excessive, and although ye hold my praising overstrained, nevertheless, and by the king that is above me, he was 3 times better than all I say. St. Patrick. Finn, pronounced fune to rhyme with tune, got his first training among women. There is no wonder in that, for it is the pup's mother teaches it to fight, and women know that fighting is a necessary art, although men pretend there are others that are better. These were the women druids, Bavmal and Lealuakra. It will be wondered why his own mother did not train him in the first natural savageries of existence, but she could not do it. She could not keep him with her for dread of the clan Morna. The sons of Morna had been fighting and intriguing for a long time to oust her husband, Yule, from the captaincy of the Fianna of Ireland, and they had ousted him at last by killing him. It was the only way they could get rid of such a man, but it was not an easy way, for what Finn's father did not know and arms could not be taught to him even by Morna. Still, the hound that can wait will catch a hare at last, and even Manana and N sleeps. Finn's mother was beautiful, long-haired Morn, so she is always referred to. She was the daughter of Teague, the son of Nuada from Faerie, and her mother was Ethlin. That is, her brother was Luffa the Long Hand himself, and with a god, and such a god, for brother we may marvel that she could have been in dread of Morna or his sons, or of anyone. But women have strange loves, strange fears, and these are so bound up with one another that the thing which is presented to us is not often the thing that is to be seen. However it may be, when Yule died, Morn got married again to the king of Kerry. She gave the child to Bavmal and Lealuakra to rear, and we may be sure that she gave injunctions with him, and many of them. The youngster was brought to the woods of Sleeve Bloom and was nursed there in secret. It is likely the women were fond of him, for other than Finn there was no life about them. He would be their life, and their eyes may have seemed as twin benedictions resting on the small fair head. He was fair-haired, and it was for his fairness that he was afterwards called Finn, but at this period he was known as Dame. They saw the food they put into his little frame reproduce itself lengthways and sideways in tough inches and in springs and energies that crawled at first and then toddled and then ran. He had birds for playmates, but all the creatures that live in a wood must have been his comrades. There would have been for little Finn long hours of lonely sunshine when the world seemed just sunshine and a sky. There would have been hours as long when existence passed like a shade among shadows in the multitudinous tappings of rain that dripped from leaf to leaf in the wood and slipped so to the ground. He would have known little snaky paths, narrow enough to be filled by his own small feet or a goat's, and he would have wondered where they went and have marveled again to find that, wherever they went, they came at last, through loops and twists of the branchy wood, to his own door. He may have thought of his own door as the beginning and end of the world, whence all things went and whither all things came. Perhaps he did not see the lark for a long time, but he would have heard him, far out of sight in the endless sky, thrilling and thrilling until the world seemed to have no other sound but that clear sweetness, and what a world it was to make that sound. Whistles and chirps, coos and caws and croaks would have grown familiar to him, and he could at last have told which brother of the great brotherhood was making the noise he heard at any moment. The wind, too, he would have listened to its 1,000 voices as it moved in all seasons and in all moods. Perhaps a horse would stray into the thick screen about his home and would look as solemnly on Finn as Finn did on it. Or, coming suddenly on him, the horse might stare, all acock with eyes and ears and nose, one long-drawn facial extension ere he turned and bounded away with manes all over him and hoofs all under him and tails all round him. A solemn-nosed, stern-eyed cow would amble and stamp in his wood to find a flyless shadow, or a strayed sheep would poke its gentle muzzle through leaves. A boy, he might think, as he stared on a staring horse, a boy cannot wag his tail to keep the flies off, and that lack may have saddened him. He may have thought that a cow can snort and be dignified at the one moment, and that timidity is comely in a sheep. He would have scolded the jackdaw and tried to outwhistle the throstle and wondered why his pipe got tired when the blackbirds didn't. There would be flies to be watched, slender atoms in yellow gauze that flew, and filmy specks that flittered, and sturdy, thick-ribbed brutes that pounced like cats and bit like dogs and flew like lightning. He may have mourned for the spider in bad luck who caught that fly. There would be much to see and remember and compare, and there would be, always, his 2 guardians. The flies change from second to second. One cannot tell if this bird is a visitor or an inhabitant, and a sheep is just sister to a sheep, but the women were as rooted as the house itself.